everyone, welcome back. My name is Miss.Savvy and I work at the Asheboro Public Library. Today I'm helping the children's room out and I'm coming to you guys to show you how to do a really cool special effects makeup look. And today we are turning ourselves into witches and warlocks and goblins. So if you watched our last video, we learned how to make a super easy, simple scar, something that takes no time at all, very easy for Halloween. Today we're going to be teaching you guys how to do awesome textures on your skin and warts, which I think is going to be super fun, and you can use it time and time again, Halloween after Halloween, which is my favorite time of year. So you might be asking yourselves how you guys can do this at home, and it's super easy. If you call the number at the bottom of your screen, the Asheboro Children's Room, you guys can pick up your very own Halloween special effects makeup goodie bags from the children's room. In it, you'll have a couple of different things. One thing being liquid latex, which is really the main thing that we're going to use today to get our really cool textures on our skin and our warts. So let me talk about liquid latex a little bit. This is liquid latex. I don't know if you guys can really see. It looks like glue and it dries down to a skin tone color, but it is latex, and a lot of people have latex allergies. So if you have an allergy to latex, unfortunately this won't work for you, but there are 100 other ways that you can get really cool special effects makeup ideas and looks. And I encourage you guys to do your research and still send us some really cool pictures if you come up with some awesome looks. Another thing that you'll get in your goodie bag besides a little thing of liquid latex is a little bit of powder, and it's going to be flour actually, which makes this really cool. So if you have flour at home, you can use that as well. A toothpick and a cotton ball. So this is all stuff that you maybe can find around your house besides the liquid latex. But if you don't get a chance to get a goodie bag from the children's room, you can buy a bottle of liquid latex for about $10 at Walmart in the Halloween section, which is really cool. I have my own bottle. I've had it for years now. It keeps really well as long as you keep the lid on it, and you can use it year after year after year. So let's go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to show you guys how to turn yourselves into witches and warlocks and goblins. So the first thing that I'm going to show you guys today is this really cool texture technique that you can use on your skin. Now one thing I will say is if you decide to do this on your face, please be careful. This is a liquid and it will get into your eyes if you're not careful, and also if you use the toothpick around your eyes, please be careful not to poke yourself, okay? So this first thing that we're going to do is actually very easy, and I think it's really fun. So my favorite part about liquid latex is the fact that if you mess up, one, it's usually adding to the look and it'll make it look just as scary if it's got a few mistakes in it, and two, if you do mess up, liquid latex peels off very easily and you can just start over again. Okay, so you can practice as many times as you want until you get it just the way that you want it. So I'm going to move my friend over here a little bit. And so for this first part, we are just going to use our fingers actually. And I'm just going to dip my finger into the liquid latex and just get a little like that. And I'm going to use the back of my hand to show you guys what I'm doing today, okay? So we are really just going to kind of go around in a little area and just pat that on. And at first it feels very, still wet, but the more you pat it, it will dry. So if you just kind of go around in whatever area, if you're trying to do this on your face, near your nose, or anything like that, you can see how it's kind of sticking a little bit now. That's what we want. Oh, and see, that's what I mean by it comes off really easily, is it'll just stick to you and it rolls right off. But for this, we are going to build up our liquid latex, which means we're going to do several layers of it. So right now, this is kind of what we have. You can see it's not really a lot, so you're going to have to do a couple of different layers of this. So we'll get a little bit more. And we'll just kind of go around in that same area. And what this is going to do is give you guys a really cool kind of old age makeup look, kind of wrinkles or rough, dry, icky skin. You see how we're getting all these little bits, these rolled up bits of liquid latex. See how that kind of looks? It's perfect for a witch's or warlock or goblin skin, and it's really going to give that creepy texture that we're looking for, okay? So you can do this a couple of times, build it up, spread it out wherever you guys really want, and it's going to get creepier and better every time that you do it. So the more you add, the more spots you're going to get, the more rough it's going to look. And every time you do it, it's going to look different and unique. I'm sorry, let me make sure you guys can actually see it. Okay, do you see how it's sticking to me? Ugh. And it's really fun to play with. I love doing this. Alright, so see how that's really rough? And really pat it. So you kind of want it to stick to you, so it makes these rounded areas and these rougher areas. So, just getting the extra off my fingers, ew. And that's kind of what that looks like. You can tell it's still kind of a little bit wet. I can still feel it a little bit. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute while I talk to you guys about the next part. And then we will come back to this one, okay? So for the next part, I'm going to show you guys kind of how you can make a wart or like a pimple on your face. I'm still going to draw it on the back of my hand just so we can see everything next to each other. But it's really, really easy, and it's kind of similar to how we did the scar look if you watched the last video. So we're going to use our toothpick again. And we're just going to get a little bit of liquid latex on the back of it. And we're really just going to drop it on there so it makes a nice little ball of liquid latex on the back of our hand, just like that. Or on your face or wherever. If you do decide to do it on your face, please make sure that you guys are being careful and you're asking for help so that you don't get this too close to your eyes or anything like that. So we're going to kind of leave it like that. And this is going to take a little bit longer to dry, so you guys are going to have to be pretty patient if you decide to do this one, because it's so thick and centered right there that it's going to take a lot of time to dry. But we're basically going to just build up on top of that until we have a nice little rounded dome of liquid latex, and then that'll be our wart. So if I did this on the side of my nose or my cheek or my chin, I think I would look exactly like a really good witch. Okay, so we're going to let that dry, and I'll come back to you guys in just a minute. Alright, so we're still drying a little bit, and I'm trying to be very careful, but I wanted to show you guys a little bit of what we've been doing. I added another few coats to the top of our little wart, and you can kind of see how big it's getting. You can make this as big or as little as you want. If you want to do a bunch of really tiny ones, you can take your toothpick and just kind of like dot little bits of liquid latex wherever you're doing it. Or you can build it up really big like this one. You're going to see how big it's getting. It's going to be really funny. We're going to make it pretty big. And then I did add a couple more coats to this. You can see it's still kind of white, which means it's still drying a little bit. But I think the texture is looking really, really good. Very creepy and, like dry, scaly witch skin. So I'm going to work on this a little bit more, let it dry down a little bit, and then I will show you guys the final product. So one thing I will tell you guys, if you decide to do this look, is patting with your finger really spreads it out along the edges and makes it thin, and that'll make it blend into your skin a lot better. It'll also make it harder for you to accidentally pull it off in the middle of your trick-or-treating or your party. If your edges are smoothed down like this one is, it will be harder to catch, because I know that sometimes if you have a really thick edge around your SFX or your liquid latex, it's a lot easier to catch it on something or your costume or anything else, and it'll kind of pull it up, and you don't want to ruin your look. So when you're tapping this around, make sure when you get towards the end and you have only a little bit left on your finger, pull it around the edges so that you can get those really nice smooth flat edges. Okay, and this is what our wart is looking like. He's spreading out a little bit because I'm being impatient and I'm just piling liquid latex on top of him. But if you're more patient and you let him dry all the way, and you just add your liquid latex on the top after he's dry, you'll get a much higher wart than I have. But this still looks really good. If you had this on your nose, you'd still look funny and you'd still kind of look creepy like a witch. So we're coming along. You can see how on the outside here this is more yellow, whereas on the inside it's more white. The yellow means it's more dry, whereas the white means it's still a little bit wet. But the more you put on, the more liquid latex you layer on top of itself, the less yellow it will get, which means you have to be very, very careful when testing to make sure that it's dry so that you don't stick your finger right in it and pull it right off. I almost did that with our wart over here. I was putting some more on top and I caught a dry spot and almost pulled the whole thing right off my hand. So you just have to be patient, something I'm not good at, but if you're patient, you can come up with the best Halloween looks. Alright guys, so I'm still waiting for my wart to dry because he's so thick, he's taking a really long time. He's kind of jiggling like jello right now, but you can kind of see that's what he looks like. He looks super gross, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the next step. So after you've gotten everything, we're going to focus on this one. After you've gotten everything the way that you want it to look, you're going to take, if you got the goodie bag, you're going to take the stuff out of the goodie bag. It's the cotton ball and your flour, or if you're at home, just some flour, powder, anything, or a brush and a cotton ball. And we're going to take the shine away from this. So we're going to make it a little more matte. So let me move this over. I'm just going to dip it in and get all the extra off of it onto my little cotton ball. And right over top of this one, because this one's still wet, I'm just going to pat this on. And it's really going to keep the shine away and make it look more like skin tone, okay? So I'm going to get a little more. Depending on how big you do this, you might need more or less powder or flour. And don't be afraid to put a whole bunch on it. You're not going to hurt the liquid latex. You can only make it better. And once you're done, just blow away the extra or brush it off. And that's what it looks like. See, it's not shiny anymore. I hope you guys can tell. It's not shiny anymore, whereas this one, it still is shiny, right? So that's going to make it look a lot more like skin. Now, one thing that I will tell you guys is if you want to take your makeup to the next level, you can go to Walgreens or CVS or Walmart and pick up a special effects makeup paint palette. And I have one I'll show you guys in just a second. And you can add color to this. They come in a bunch of different styles. Let me grab mine real quick and I can show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so my favorite brand to use is called Wet n Wild. And this is my special effects makeup paint kit. So you see we have a bunch of different skin tones up here. And we have red and black and green. And so if you wanted to make a zombie look or green with the witch look, this would be a really good thing to have. It's only like $5 and you can pick up a little brush or you can apply this with your fingers just like we did with this liquid latex. It works just as well. They also have solid white paint pots like this. That's what it's called, is a paint pot. But this is just white. I've used this a whole bunch over the years. Or there's a bunch of different shade ranges of this where you can have brighter colors in here. Like I know there's one with a bright blue color and a bright yellow. But anyway, you can pick these up at any drugstore or Walmart or anything like that. Target even has them, and you can take your special effects makeup look to the next level with this. Okay. Alright guys, so my wart is still not 100% dry, so if you decide to do warts, please make sure you have enough time to do it. I went ahead and added a little powder to it. You can kind of see there's still some on there. And I smushed him a little, but he's still pretty big. Still pretty icky, gross wart that you can do easily at home. One thing I love about liquid latex is it moves with your skin. It acts like a second skin. So if you have this on your face or your hands or your arms, legs, wherever you decide to do it, it'll move with you all night long and you will stay looking creepy for the whole Halloween evening. So guys, if you do decide to do any of these Halloween looks, there's going to be one more video coming out next week. I can't wait to show you guys that. And if you decide to do any of these looks, please send them to us so we can see and we can share them with other kids so they have inspiration for Halloween. Practice makes perfect, you guys, but also remember that there's nothing perfect about special effects makeup. It's just fun. So if you mess up, it's all part of the look. All right? Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time for more creepy special effects makeup. Bye!